bit more comfortable than the 79 series, and this is my ride home to go and pick up Lance and obviously Jamesy too. So this leg of the trip will be enjoyable. The trip back up at Lance may not be as comfortable, I'd say, or as cool. It's going to be hot, sweaty, loud drive, but I'm looking forward to it. It's a mission, and that's why we do it, and have a bit of fun. Good night's sleep. It was a friggin' long day. I don't know how truck drivers do it every day. Hats off to them. Yeah, it was a pretty long trip home, but I'm very thankful for that ride. Thanks, mate. You know who you are. Anyway, we better start loading up the ute. Taking plenty of spare oil. Yes, obviously that's overkill, but I really don't know how much it's going to use. It was using quite a bit. Hopefully the old blow-by saver 3000 or 20 watt 50 Gulf Western should make a difference, but we'll take plenty with us. We've got a spare bit of diesel, some water. I've chucked in random various tools I can think of around the shed, but you can't pretend to know what's going to let go on these sort of things, so there's no point taking every spare I've got. We'll get the swags in, and then we'll go and pick up Jamesy, and really excited to do this. It's going to be a big day, and we need to get into it, so let's do it. But before we do, I really need to change the oil in Lance. Lance has got 1540 in it. It was just a cheap oil that I grabbed at the time, just to get some fresh stuff in after originally getting him running. Now he's done about 1500 Ks since then, and I've added another 2.5 litres to keep him topped up. So he's definitely using oil, which would, you know, make sense, seeing as though he's got so much blow-by. Seeing this, the guys at Red Point really got involved and got interested and said, we really want to supply you with oil to use in him. We think you're using the wrong oil. You should be using this, the Gulf Western HDZ50. It's designed for worn and high mileage and hard working engines. Now, this will be a really good experiment because I know it's used 2.5 litres in the last 1500 Ks. We're about to do roughly the same amount, 13 to 1400. So we're going to change the oil in Lance with this HDZ50 that Gulf Western and Red Point have supplied, and see if it makes a difference. Look, if it still uses oil, that's fair enough. The thing's got so much blow-by, the pistons could be rattling around in the bore, and she's pretty tired. But it'll be interesting to see if it does make a difference, makes it quieter, and hopefully just, you know, helps with the longevity of the engine, getting it there and back. After topping off the oil, I also added some of Red Point's own Friction Pro. Now this stuff is designed to leave a coating on all the moving parts, even once the engine is dry of oil, which we hope that doesn't happen in Lance, but it is definitely possible, the amount he uses. I've had some great results with this stuff, so I was definitely willing to give it a go in Lance. He's the perfect candidate for something like this. Sounds good in the morning. 6 hours in, that won't sound good. That'll be friggin' annoying. Let's go. There's a little bit of a thump there.
She'll make it.
She'll make it. Rightio, we picked up Jamesy, and it is really time to hit the road now.
It is.
Highway's behind us, and there's no time like the present, mate.
No, hopefully Lance will make it.
That's it. So we'll charge the air tank up, and we'll see how many toots we can give along the way. The old train horn, that'll be a bit of fun. So rocks scissors paper for the drive, mate. Oh,
come on.
That looked like it was for show. Oh, bullshit.
Oh, you'll win it.
Oh, well,
You'll drive it.
Well. I'll do the first stint. So we're probably going to stop every couple of hours because fuel gauge is shady at best.
Yeah. That should be right. We'll nurse her up there.
Let's hit her. Charge her up. This is where disaster strikes. There's no green stuff anywhere. No. Looking good.
Things are looking good.
James in the hot seat now. We detoured off the highway to find a bit of lunch at a local little pub. The one James took us to was closed down. Well done, bud. We had to keep pushing on, and I was getting hungry and thirsty.
What's going on? Who knows? Get back on the highway. Stay out.
That pub's shut. It's a dry argument.
Will it be for a little while?
Close to the bar, I reckon. How do you get down there? Burley Heads Hotel is lunch.
Matthew's on too.
It's down. Nearly half. Say when. Hopefully I don't spill it everywhere.
Yeah, that's better.
Well, we topped up Lance and ourselves, and it was time to hit the road again. Freaking hot in here and noisy. My back's stuck to the seat. We've got another hour to go, and it's the time's not getting any shorter. That's the problem. So we should have stopped possibly. Peak hour traffic. Look here.
Good times, good times.
Well, we eventually made it all the way to Sandstone Caravan Park, where the family have been staying for the last 2 nights. I can tell you that beer there was about the best beer I've ever had. Next morning, we were on the road for the 15-minute journey across to the Caboolture Showground to Clecs 2023. We couldn't hold back our excitement. From the minute I turned up at Clecs, I knew I was going to have a ball here. Everyone's so friendly, everyone's like-minded, and it's just about telling stories of these old trucks and how you got there, how you come to own them, and just generally helping each other out. What a kick-ass event it was going to be, and we'd only been there for 15 minutes. It's time to get the barbecue going and get that chicken on the Weber. Well, the next morning was really the start of Clecs, the Saturday. This arena was completely filled with cars by the time everyone got in. 320 cars in total, 280 entrants. We did have a few beers that night before and let our hair down, and some let their hair down a little bit too much, I think. It was all light-hearted, and it is a kid-friendly event. Everyone's in good spirits. The cars just kept rolling in. So the event does cater for 20, 40 and 60 series Land Cruisers, and there's also plenty of vendors to buy some food and some bits and pieces, and check out this double-decker bus. That was our favourite. What a kick-ass idea that is. I just couldn't believe the range of vehicles, from rust buckets driven straight off the farm, a bit like Lance, to $200,000 builds and everything in between, and they were all good in their own way. Old Fred was a legend. There's not much he didn't know about his 20 series, and he took awards home, and rightly so. Sadly, it was over. It just went like a flash, and I wish it lasted longer. It was time to head out. This bloke shook everyone's hand that went through the gate. Those little touches make a difference to an event like this. That night we kicked back and had a few more beers with our new neighbours that had camped right beside us, and what a top night, what a top event. I'll be back next year. Well, Clecs 2023 was over, but the adventure hadn't ended. We had to drive him 600 k's back, and at this point in the trip, we really didn't want any breakdowns. Really happy to say Lance made it all the way home. We used about 1.5 litres of oil to do about 1,300 kilometres. So I think that thicker oil did slow it up a little bit, but Lance is pretty tired. In saying that, now it's done such a big trip, we plan on doing more adventures with him and just driving him and enjoying him. And we'll just keep that old engine going and band-aid it up and have a bit of fun with it along the way. Big shout out to the family for helping support me with this 40 series addiction, James for coming on board and being involved with it, and some good close friends that made the effort to come and see us. Our sponsors, especially Peter from All 4x4 Spares, made the effort to come and say hello. And of course, you guys watching, your support really does make a difference to us. So that's a wrap for Clecs 2023, and it really is a journey for 90% of people that do this. So getting there and getting home is all part of the fun. Don't forget, guys, you only live once. Get out in the shed, get stuck into that project, and Clecs, we will be back next year. See you next time.